Sudani on television again this afternoon saying the CBI has progressed in the 77 past years and they have dealt with all the challenges and the reforms. Alak on television talking about the CBI. The more we listen, the more it sounds like he's telling us they're going to be giving us our purchasing power very soon. Frank, they're telling you your country, bank, economy is exploding. That's impossible at a program rate. It's their way of telling you what they promised you, purchasing power in your currency. It is coming. Question, do you have a guesstimate of rates? Marks, on the dong we have seen anything from 0.39 cents to $3.90 recently. I am hearing now that it could be closer to the $3.50, $3.90 range. I am hearing low $4s on the dinar, but they have seen $6, $8. The government has not neglected to implement the national strategy for the private sector, which hopes that the private sector's contribution to the country's GDP will increase from 37% currently to more than 54% in the coming years. The GDP was derived 95% from oil. Now they're talking about the private sector is going to increase up from 37% to more than 54%. The CBI and the US Treasury are monitoring the black market. The market of Iraq should reflect the official exchange rate. There should not be any other exchange rate to compete against the official exchange rate. There should be only a single exchange rate in a country, not two or three. That's what the monetary reform education is teaching the citizens right now. Al-Alak on the platform closure, there is no sudden transition, but rather a gradual one that will be completed within 2 weeks. Quote, Alak announced that the monetary situation in Iraq is at its best. External transfers for trade purposes are proceeding smoothly after the implementation of the new system. There is no sudden transition, but rather a gradual transition that began in 2024, where the bank's relationship was transferred directly to correspondent banks without going through other links. And the process was completed successfully. More than 95% of this goal has been achieved, and this process will be completed successfully within the next 2 weeks. There is international anticipation to celebrate this occasion. None of my sources say it's happening today, but some folks think the next 3 days are highly possible. We are hearing a constant drone of how the GOI is trying to combat the parallel market/black market. Once again, I am calling BS. Any thinking person can understand and realize, the way you put an instant end to the black market is to revalue the currency, IQD, to a rate higher, more valuable than the dollar. I maintain that this is nothing more than a stall tactic to hold off the RV/RE of the IQD. Occam's razor is almost always the correct answer, but why are they doing this? Unprecedented numbers. American CNN talks about tourism in Iraq. Quote, the American network CNN published a report in which it confirmed the increase in the number of Western tourists heading to Iraq post-RV. Iraq will be on the hook to sell oil to the US at a fixed, low price for the next 30 years, oil credits from our exchanges. This is in part how Iraq is going to pay for the exchange of currency on revaluation. We are watching Iraq open up to the world. We're talking about integration into international markets, international banking, from national to international interconnectivity. This is what's happening with Iraq. US Bank, not USA, US Bank customers may exchange currency at a local branch or online. There is a $10 transaction fee for order of $250 or less. Orders that exceed this amount do not have a transaction fee. Do your work? Look these places up and learn about their services. Iraq exports more than 100 million barrels of oil last October. That was last month. It's obvious we are just waiting on the official HCL announcement. And they have placed a mechanism into the budget law for a rate change. Why would they do that if they did not expect a rate change? There is an amendment specifically for the change in the value of their currency. This is for all of those who says this will never happen. Member of the Patriotic Union of Kurdistan, Gayat al-Saji, explained the reasons for not legislating the oil and gas law, noting that there is no longer a need to legislate such a law, especially after the issuance of judicial decisions regarding the oil and exports file. Al-Saji told Al-Maluma, the region was waiting for the enactment of the oil and gas law to resolve all the problems related to this wealth between Baghdad and Erbil, but today the situation is different after the issuance of a judicial decision by the Paris court to stop the export of oil from Kurdistan to Turkey. He added, the international judicial decision, in addition to the federal court decision, stipulated that the oil would be owned by everyone, meaning that the authority over this wealth would be in the hands of the federal government in Baghdad. He explained that the judicial decision 2 years ago obliged the region not to export oil to Turkey and made the authority over it under the supervision of Baghdad, so the issue of oil and gas and the legislation of the law related to it will be unnecessary, especially since the judicial decision made the oil revenues under the authority and supervision